Hi and welcome to our Office 15-minute webinars, Keeping IT Simple. Today we're going to have a look at creating forms in Microsoft Word using the form controls. I'm sure we've all been there where we've created forms or we've gone to fill in a form and all we have is the little dots or the dashes and we start to type and the whole thing just goes complete car crash, the format changes, your page starts scrolling down. That's what we're going to get to grips with, and that's hopefully how we're going to improve our forms. So let me share my screen with you. Let's first of all have a look at the type of form that I was speaking about. There we go. We put the dashes in there, we put the underscores in there. The problem is when we come to start to fill out that form, Train IT Midlands, the whole thing is just scrolling across. You shouldn't assume that people know about the over type button and the insert button. You can turn that off and it will, you shouldn't assume that. So my address is the I can't even remember where I reside, Lockside House. There we go. Press enter. Okay, now I've got a tab in and complete car crash. So it's fine if they're going to print this form off and they're going to fill it in by hand, because at least they've got a guide as to where they're going to fill it in. So let's have a look at how we can do it more professional. I've already started on a document in true Blue Peter fashion. So here's one I created earlier. And what I've done, I've used an actual table format. A table format is going to allow me to have two separate columns. It will be far easier to align my headers and the actual parts where I'm going to put the information, rather than trying to space it out with spaces or tabs or whatever you've done in the past. Let me quickly just show you in a brand new document how I would create a table. So basically on my insert tab, I go into table and then I choose how many columns, how many rows. To be honest, I don't choose how many rows. You don't need to. I'm just going to choose how many columns there are. And I've said there are 2 columns. There we go. I can then change the width of those columns on there. So what am I going to put in? So the first one was going to put in company name. Okay. I press tab on my keyboard to go to the next column. And in there, I'm going to leave that so people can just type something in there. When I press tab again, Word tables automatically know that it's at the end, last column, and it will just open up a new row for you. So now I can put in, I can't remember what I need, but let's just say it was name again, tab, and then it was address, tab. So my table just keeps growing as I keep tabbing across. You never ever need to specify how many columns or how many rows rather, just how many columns you need, and then it will just grow and grow and grow the more that you need it to. So let me go back. That's how I created this. And you might think, but that looks pretty useless. They can see that it's got lines on it. We can turn those off. I'll show you how we can turn those off at the end. So I've already done a table with 2 columns. I've changed the width. I've put all the information that I need. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to click first of all into the second column for company name. All this has been put together using various styles. Now, if you haven't seen our 15-minute webinar for the using styles in Microsoft Word, check it out. Go to my YouTube channel, have a look on LinkedIn. You'll see a copy of it. It makes life so much easier if you're going to be using these styles that you can put together, and then just in one click, you can get it to look the way that you want it to look. So for now, I'm now going to get to my, it's not there. You should have a tab called Developer. Now, the thing about Developer tab, by default, Word never shows it. So don't be too upset that you've never seen it. I'm going to add it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go File, Options. Now I'm in my options. I'm going to get a Customize ribbon. And you can see on the right-hand side, I'm going to tick in the Developer tab. It will be empty. When I tick in it and say OK, the Developer tab now appears on my ribbon. The Developer tab has the controls. These are the controls that I'm going to use for my forms. We've got a rich text. We've got plain text. We can upload pictures. We can have checkboxes, combo boxes, drop-down list boxes. We can even have a date calendar picker if we wanted to. So the whole point of this is that I'm going to let people type into little input boxes rather than putting all those dashes in there. So company name really is just a single line of text. So I'm going to go for the plain text option. Plain text, you can only put text in there. Now, one of the other options on your controls is the design mode. When I'm creating this document, I'm going to put design mode on because it shows me where that input field is. Okay, it gives me options to go in and change this text as well. So click, I'm just going to say click here, get rid of the or, to enter company name. Now you don't have to change these. Yeah, it's entirely up to you. I'm just showing you that the capabilities there, you can customize it for whatever input boxes you want. We've also got the properties. Properties are available for every control you add. And I don't know why the input box has suddenly gone ballistic. It might be my screen display, but it's normally a little square box. But for some reason, it thinks that it wants to get a little bit bigger. Don't worry about everything that's in there. You don't need to worry about that. The only thing that you might be interested in is what style do you want it to be when people start typing. Now, if you've already formatted that column, which I have, with a style called form content, that's what it's defaulted to. But if you wanted to change it to a different style, you can. There's a button in here which says content control cannot be deleted. Well, I don't want anybody to be able to delete my control, but I'm going to take it to the next level. I'm not just going to leave my document in a way that people can just come and change everything and click on anything. We're going to do restricted editing later on, which means that I don't need to worry about saying you can't delete this. So I'm going to leave that empty. And I'm going to say OK. I'm then going to get to my address. Address is also just plain text. So I'm going to click on plain text again. There we go. I could say click here to enter business address, but I'm just going to get to the properties. And this time, style is correct, but allow carriage returns. An address has to have more than one line in there. So I'm going to say people can press enter, they can press return, and they can have multiple paragraphs in there now. That will just move my table down. It's not going to go across to the right. It's not going to upset my format. Postcode, well, postcode is just a plain text again, so that's straightforward. Plain text. Properties, no, I don't want them to press enter. Style is correct. Absolutely fine. So here's one of the alternatives now, company registration date. I'm going to pick up the date picker or the calendar option. And when I click onto that, it looks exactly the same. But if you look at the properties, there's a number of different items that you can do. Again, I don't need to worry about deleting and the style. That's already going to be taken care of. But down here, you can choose a format for your date. You can even choose your locality. You know, are you in the States? Are you in UK? What calendar are you using? But this is the important bit. Now, on LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago, I actually put a post on there to say, what is your favorite date format? Mine is the day, month, year. Okay, great. If it's in a long column, that's absolutely fine. This is just a single date. Now, I don't mind a long date for single dates, so that's what I'm going to choose. And I'm going to say OK. So once they choose it, it's going to be in that full date format. Are you VAT registered? It's a yes or no. I'm going to add what we call a checkbox. A checkbox you can just tick to say yes. You can leave empty to say no. Look at my properties. This is the symbol that it will show if you tick it. This is the symbol which is empty if you don't tick it. You could, if you wanted to, go and change it and you can say, actually, I want to put a tick in there. Or whatever other symbol you wanted to. So yeah, that's what we'll do. I'm going to go for a tick on this one. And I'll say OK. Business type. Now, if you have a look at what I put on the way that we don't want to do it, the business type was 3 different options. I know there's more than that. Don't email and tell me it was wrong. This is just a demonstration. We've got sole trader, we've got a limited company, and we've got a partnership. I'm too idle to type them. I'm going to copy them, okay? And then I'm going to come back to my business type. We're going to put this in a drop-down list. So I'm going to choose a drop-down list. I'm going to come back into my properties, and then I'm going to start adding the different values that I want. So the first one was sole trader. Then I'm going to add another one. It's probably quicker for me to have typed them, but yeah, I'm actually putting them in here as a copy and paste, and then my last one would have been the limited company. You can add as many of these as you need. You can even reorder them. You know, if you want to put them in a specific order, A to Z or whatever, then absolutely fine. I'm going to say OK. So now that's going to be a drop-down box that can choose those items. I don't want people just to type whatever they want in there. It's got to be consistent and VAT registered. You know, I don't want yes, I think I am. No, mate, it's either a yes or a no with a tick. So finally is my signature. I want them to sign it to say I'm happy with all this and the information is correct. If they don't have a signature as like an image that they put in there, I'm happy for them just to type their name in there. That gives me the authority to say everything is correct. So what I'm going to do for the signature, I'm going to choose the first box up here, or the first control, which is a rich text. Rich text allows you to put pictures in there. It allows you to put text in there, but in different formats. So it's a lot more than plain text. So in case people don't have an image of their signature, I'm going to allow them to type. Otherwise, I would have just used the picture content control. So the rich text content control, let's go to the properties. Nothing else needs to be changed. It's the same style. I don't need to say you cannot delete it. Okay. And now we're complete. Once we've completed this, I'm going to turn off my design mode. It shows me what it will look like to other people. Now, you could save this document and they could start entering in here. I can see that from my company registration date. I can go and choose from my business type. Yeah, I can go and choose. But the thing is as well, they can also go and start deleting other parts of my document. They can also come and select these and they can delete them because I didn't set the do not delete option. Let me undo that one. But it doesn't matter because what we're going to do, we're going to restrict editing. Now, before I do that, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the table with the little arrow in the top left-hand corner. I'm going to get to the table design. And this is where the magic happens. I'm going to turn off my borders and say no border. And there we go. It looks just like you've typed it in there and spaced it out with a tab or whatever it might be. It's still a table. I can still turn that back on. You may even think, actually, I want to make this look a little bit more attractive, and we can go and choose from these styles if we wanted to. There's lots of different table styles that you could put into place. Now I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm quite happy with that. But the potential to make it look nice and attractive is there. So what I'm going to do next is on my developer tab, I'm going to restrict the editing to this form, this document. And if you look over here, there's a number of different options. You could even limit the type of styles that people could use or change when they're inputting their information. Notice that I've said they can only use the form content and the form normal styles. I've created those myself on purpose for these forms. There's also my headers and things in there that I might want to restrict it to. I'm not going to go into it in detail, but you could restrict your styles. Okay. This is the one I'm interested in. It says allow only this type of editing in this document. And it says no changes, read only. If you wanted to, you could stop anybody from typing anything at all. You know, instead of turning it into a PDF file, you could put on this restriction, send out the document, people can read it, but they can't change anything. You've also got options just for them to add comments if you wanted to. But the one that I'm interested in is the bottom, the third one, filling in forms. This is now going to restrict everybody, once I say yes, start enforcing, to only go into those content controls. They cannot delete them. They cannot change anything else on the form. So that's what I'm going to do. Just one word of warning. If you still have your design mode on in your controls area, the start enforcing is not available. It's grayed out. Now I've just saved you 30 minutes of your life because that's how long it took me to work that out years ago. I just couldn't understand what I'd done wrong. I got my design mode on, turn it off. You can then start enforcing the protection that you've set above. And when I do that, it says, do you want to put a password in there? You don't have to, but if you don't, anybody can just come and click that button and they can go straight back in and they can start editing anything again. So for me, put my password in there, highly secure, ABC, okay. That's how I can stop the protection if I ever want to get back into it. but now I can just go and close this panel on the right. I can save my document now. I can save it as a template. That would be the best option, because then I can just send out a new copy every time. But it now means that I can type in my information. So train IT Midlands, okay? If I press enter, it doesn't go anywhere. If I press tab, it actually jumps to the next part of my input, which is great. I can just press tab to get to all the new fields. My business address is Lockside House, Kimber, Staffs, tab. What is your postcode? I don't know, can anybody remember what my postcode is? I think it's DY6 something or other, 6LH, it's close. Company registration date. Well, I'd have to go back a few years on this, so it's quite a while. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to choose, my registration date was May, and I think it was let's go for May the 1st, yeah? But then I can quickly just change those years. So it was actually 2010. We're 11 years old this May. Are we VAT registered? Yes, we are. So I get my tick. What is your business type? There's my selection. I can't actually type anything in there, but I can choose from the drop-down list, so it has to be one of those three. And then finally, my signature at the bottom. If I don't have a signature that I can upload, I can just put my name in. That would be enough. However, what I can do is I can go and find maybe an image that I've got. Here's my signature GIF. I'll open it up. Okay. I don't know whether I should do this. This is potential fraud, but there's my signature, apparently. I'm just going to right click and I'm going to copy it. There we go. And then I'm going to come back in here and I'm going to right click and I'm going to paste. There we go. Just need to adjust the size of it, but there's my signature now catered for. And there's my form. Nobody can change anything else. I can't overwrite my titles on the left. I can't overwrite my title at the top. All I can do is fill in my form details. How much more professional does that look? So thank you for joining me. Now, if you're not aware, we actually do a draw for people to win 15 minutes of my time to go through whatever you wanted to. All you have to do is register, and what I'll do is in the comments below or in the description, if we're on YouTube, I'll put a link in there. It's a form. It will take you 10 seconds, 15 if you stop and have a sip of your coffee. It's literally your name and your email. And what it will do, I will remind you on the Monday before the 15-minute webinar that there's going to be one, what it's about. But then during the 15-minute webinar, just like now, I'm going to choose a winner from that list. Now, last week's winner was Morton Patterson. And Morton had a one-to-one with me concerning OneDrive for Business. He had some questions about it. Let's have a look and see who this week's winner is. So there we go. David Banks, if you're out there, I will be in touch. I don't know if you're on the session or not. If you are, then congratulations. Dave's got 15-minute one-to-one time with me, and we can go through whatever he wants to go through to do with Microsoft applications. So thanks for joining me. I hope you found this session useful. And from now on, your forms are going to look so much more professional.